What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and again, I'm sneaking in a little extra time here to do a live lineup build for the PGA Tour Championship slate on DraftKings. And those DFS players that play DFS regularly are probably wondering what the hell I'm even doing this for. When I say that, I mean it's only a 30 golfer slate, and why bother? I mean, everybody's going to be playing all the same guys. There's going to be all kinds of dupes and things like that. It's a kind of a silly slate to dedicate any time to. But all I'll say is this. I was talking with Adam Perry a little earlier today, and, you know, people that are used to playing PGA golf are sort of spoiled. You're usually getting about 150 golfers to choose from, and with no correlation issues. In other words, like, you can play whatever six you want. It's not like UFC where you have to pick between two guys fighting each other, or tennis where you have to pick between two guys fighting each other, things like that. There's no real correlation between these golfers. So people are used to 150 people to choose from, between six lineup spots, just a zillion combinations. And then when you get down to these slates where you have 30 golfers, people are like, oh, it's so ridiculous. I mean, well, why bother? Because you're going to play the same guys. But for those of you DFS players who are used to playing like UFC and League of Legends and Showdown and like other stuff, I mean, 30 is plenty. You know what I mean? Like 30 golfers where you're not even limited to, you don't have to play one or the other, like UFC, for example. I think 30 is this is my sweet spot. This is what I love playing. Okay. To be able to walk that tightrope and to figure out that puzzle between what types of lineups have a chance to win and what types of lineups are not going to be played by a zillion people. That to me is the most fun challenge of DFS. Okay. That's why I enjoy Showdown NFL, why I enjoy UFC. It's because it's not so much picking the best plays. It's not even picking the best lineups, really. It's about picking the lineups that have a shot to win, where not that many people are playing them, and you get involved in this whole dilemma of how many dupes you think you're going to generate in these lineups. So the big battleground is, how do you figure that out? Like, how do you know how many dupes your lineups are going to have, and whether it's worth giving up 2 or 3 points of projection to get a lower dupe lineup. And even the sim products like SaberSim and, which I really, really love, and the other sim products, they don't do, in my opinion, the greatest job of predicting that. And so if that's the case, then the resulting ROIs of those lineups are not going to be great either. And I'll tell you that I've done this a zillion times. I mean, I look and see what the predicted dupes are versus the actual dupes, and they're just not even close. I mean, dupes lineups, if they're projecting like 6 dupes, end up 60. So it's become this quest of people to try to figure that out. Like, whether it be, how do you get low dupes? Do you leave money on the table? That's certainly reasonable. Do you intentionally play low owned plays? And in that sense, how do you measure that? Like, how low owned do you have to play? Do you play one low owned guy? Is that enough? Like, if you played like 40 on like 2, is that good enough? Or is there something wrong with that logic? And so that's the thing I enjoy quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm really going to treat this like any other freaking slate. When I say any slate, any NASCAR slate, MMA slate, tennis slate, slates where you only have 30 guys and you're trying to come up with the best lineups that have a chance to win. So this is the same process. And you'll see, and this is going to be sort of weird, because I don't really play 150 in too many things. And you think that, oh my God, how are you going to play 150 in a tournament like this? I'm doing it. I do it in MMA. I do it in some other sports like that. I can't imagine not doing it in this environment, where I think a lot of people are going to not play. I mean, really, I think a lot of the experts are going to say, screw this, I'm not playing this stuff. I'm certainly not going to play, not going to play 150 lineups when normally I have 150 golfers to choose from. Now I'm going to have 30, but it's still 30. It's not like 4. So I'm going to try this. So you'll see in SaberSim, you'll see in my contest tabs, I'm playing everything. I'm playing 150 in the sand trap. I'm playing 150 in the drive the green. I'm playing one of the big buy-ins, still, but I am still playing the 150. So this is what we're going to probably focus on, is how to build for the 150. Are we going to talk about who the best plays are? I don't know. I mean, okay, the best plays. The best play is Scotty Scheffler. Congratulations. You did great. You came up with the best play. He's probably going to win, and I shouldn't say he's probably going to win. He's more likely to win than anybody else. And because of the pricing, you can kind of get to him. What else can I do here? You want me to show you some projection? Sure. I mean, like these are my projections. Great. When I rate these by my own value scores, I have Chris Gotterup is the best value. Great. So you can do that. You can play Chris Gotterup with Scheffler, and you can certainly get to them. And then I like Akshay Bhatia next, and play wherever you want. But I think those are the, what did it say? Hashtag best plays. Okay, but who cares, right? What I want to do is see how to get some unique lineups here. So let's not think of it in terms of plays. Let's think of it in terms of lineups, and to a lesser degree in terms of a portfolio. That's the new buzzword now is portfolio management in DFS. That's a whole nother discussion. But let's just build the way we would normally build. So what's the first question? First question is, well, two questions at the same time. First question is, what projections are you going to use? And then when you run your contest sims, which fields you're going to use to compare them to. And that's sort of a similar question, okay? So first of all, depending on how you get it to SaberSim, you can either use SaberSim's projections, you can upload your own. If you subscribe through, like, say, TrueDFS, or some of the others like Run Pure or Ship It Nation, or anybody that's got an alliance with Ship It Nation, you're probably going to have access to both, the proprietary projections and SaberSims, and then you can go ahead and average them. A lot of different choices, and I have to say that that's probably the most important decision you have to make, really, of what projections you use. I mean, because the best projections over the long run are probably going to win. Yeah, you could be a good lineup constructor and things like that, but you do have to get a good set of projections. So, like for this example, like, no offense to SaberSim, but I'm going to put my own in. So we're going to upload. But I have a take on that, by the way, All-Star. So we're going to upload our projections here, and my projections, whatever. And we're going to replace SaberSims with ours. And this is the button I'm going to click here. So this button automatically create custom fields from ownership. So what this is going to do is I'm going to create my own contest field based on my ownerships. Okay. We're going to call this, I don't know, Sheets Pone, I guess. And then we're going to build, well, I mean, may as well build 20,000 lineups. If we're going to allow duplicates, that's okay, right? So let's go ahead and save these. So I think that All-Star, I mean, this is like contrarian to be contrarian. See, I think that if you really want to be different, like, you won't intentionally leave money on the table. And you won't, like, do stupid shit like X out Scotty. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of people are going to do that because they're so scared of it being 30 golfers. You're like, oh, I have to do something like that because it's only 30 golfers. I mean, All-Star, we play MMA every freaking week. If we had 30 fighters to choose from, you know what I mean? It would be like the greatest slate of all time. Okay? And not to mention that you have no negative correlation in golf. So let's embrace this. So the first thing I want to do, so it's creating this field of lineups for me to use as my contest sim, kind of, as an option. So what I'm going to do, well, let's going to keep waiting. So listen, for 20,000 lineups at only 30 golfers, I'm sort of trying to break it a little bit. I'm not breaking it, but it's definitely going to take a little bit of time. But I do want to go through this and build this. Let's see if it's started yet. Not quite yet. So I think, like, in a weird way, like, if you build like good lineups, right, and then you run the sims and you have a good projection set, whatever it is, And then you actually, I think in a weird way, if you play the lineups that have 50,000 salary total, I think they're actually going to be under-owned this week. What do you think about that? Terrible take? Maybe. But I don't know. This is the way my brain is operating right now. So we created this field to choose if we want, but do we want? Okay, so what we're going to do is for the MME stuff, we're going to change it to ours for field lineups. Because to be perfectly honest, I like my ownerships more nowadays than straight Saber Sims for the lottery. But I don't do specific stuff for the big buy-ins, so I'm just going to leave Saber Sims there. So what are we doing here? So we've uploaded our projections. That's the biggest decision. Okay, we have uploaded a field, so we know what fields we're going to use. Next question, any rules, anything at all, any minimum salary, any maximum salary? I say no. So I'm even going to go down to 45,000. So I'm not going to say you have to play 45,000, but if I did get a good one at 45,000, I'd want it. And then how many lineups do we want to play? It's not going to matter. I'm going to show you why in a minute. So we're going to go 20,000 lineups. And we're going to just build, okay, and no difference. Okay, so what it's going to do right now is which is the exact same process, right, as every other sport that you watch me do. Okay, it's going to build here's the analytical term, a shitload of lineups, okay, and then it's going to simulate how those lineups do over, I think the actual number is 10 gazillion times against the various fields, and then. That's why you see 0 of 5 up here. And then what it's going to do for the purposes of this is it's going to diversify the portfolio. And I don't want to get into that right now, but really what it's doing is smoothing out your exposures in a kind of a smart way, depending on what you have elsewhere. So what it's going to do is when it does the sand trap and the drive to green, it's not just going to give me the top ROI lineups. What it's going to do, it's going to consider what I have in the 19th hole and the signature hole and the driver before deciding what to give me in the summer sand trap and the drive the green. But what we're going to do is we're going to trick the system a little bit, okay? Because we want to get a little bit different than what Saber Sim is going to provide, because I just don't think they do the greatest job with the dupes. So I'm going to keep the big buy-in stuff as is. And then we're going to do some funny business with the other stuff. And I'll show you what that is in a minute. Okay, so first, let's upload these first. Okay, so again, diversifying lineups. It's not to get into the logic of this. Oh, it can't diversify some of them? Probably have too many lineups. Let me see here. What do we got here? So there are no lineups for this selected lineup group. Why not? Why not? What's the problem here? Well, let's do this then. Let's just go min uniques. Won't worry too much about the portfolio diversification yet. Actually, for this, probably don't even need more than min uniques 1, right? With only two golfers. So let's just do that. Min uniques 1, min uniques 1. Uniques 1. We're not going to diversify the portfolio anyway, so I don't really care why this error is being generated. So let's save all, just for now. We'll put these in, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look again at the big buy-ins. Okay, I mean at the MME, because that's my challenge. Okay, is to figure out how to play a 30 golfer slate and play 150 lineups and not get mega duped and have a chance to win. Okay, so let's first enter these so we're all in. So now what we're going to do is we are going to forget about all this diversification stuff, and we are going to download this raw file. Okay, so download lineup group, all of it. And we're going to have this spreadsheet that lists all this data of all of these lineups, okay? So the first thing that I am going to want to do is I want to sort this by ROI of either of those MMEs, honestly. So we got to find it. 19, definitely not the 19th hole. That's definitely not the one that we want. Driver, no. Again, I'm sure there's an easy way to whatchamacallit, sand trap. Okay. Sand trap ROI. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the 500 highest ROI lineups. And then what we're going to do is take the top some amount that we feel are not going to be as highly duped. So the first thing I want to do is let's at least start with the top 500 lineup. So let's get rid of the rest. You don't need all 20,000 of these bad boys, right? So just the top 500, I guess, just as an example. We can even do more. But let's do 500. Okay, let's not be too silly. So top 500, and I just want to you want to do 1,000 just for the hell of it. No, let's just do 500. So let's get rid of these, and then so the top 500. And here's what we have to do. First, we have to knock out these columns, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, let's take these columns out. Now I could sort by geo mean, right? Because that is another way of trying to figure out what's going to be low owned. All right, but what I would rather do is use PayDirt's portfolio manager to predict the dupes. Geo mean has some biases, and when you sort by geo mean too much and you go for low geo means, what you end up getting is just whoever the lowest owned golfer is. But as a matter of fact, because there's nobody that's that low owned, maybe geo mean is relevant for this particular exercise. So why don't we figure out what type of geo mean we even need to look for here? Okay. So what we're looking for, I mean, it'd be nice if we had like no dupes, but let's see what we can accomplish here. So let's take out our geo mean calculator, okay, and let's remind ourselves of what of how many people are even in this tournament. So hold on, let's grab this over here. Let's grab this over here. How many people are even in this thing that we're going to try to win by ourselves, or at least get as low duped as possible? So it looks like it's going to be how many? 37,647. Okay, so you put in here 37,000, and then 6 people, and let's say you want to have a maximum of, say, 4 dupes, which is pretty reasonable, right? Then you want a geo mean of 21.8 or lower. So we could actually do this, okay? This is actually a good way that we could sort. So it looks like all these are below, but just in case they're not, I think we should be good, right? Yeah, so let's sort by, let's get rid of anything above 21.8. So let's get rid of these. Okay. So that's good. So now we're down to how many? How many for us to test? 470. So now what I want to do is let's swing over here and delete all of these columns. And the reason for that is we have to make it so that SaberSim will accept it. So that PayDirt will accept it. So this is kind of the format. So let's save this. We're going to save this as PGA, PayDirt dupe test. Okay, PayDirt dupe test. PGA. All right. So now what we have to do is we have to go to PayDirt portfolio manager, which is somewhere. Let's start here. I'm not doing too well in the early baseball slate. Okay. So this is what you have to do. There's certain templates, certain Excel CSV templates that you have to complete to get this thing rolling. First of all, let's just now it matters now that you have to change this. Golf, Classic, Slate. First, you do have to upload like a CSV that says. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the template. So you need the DFS ID, roster position, salary, so it can recognize like different formats. When I do my projections nowadays, I now do this automatically just so that I can use the pay dirt thing. So this one I already have you can also download straight from DraftKings from the salary file. And then you have to put your projections in here. And again, there's a template, but I've already pre-made one. I've preloaded that. So here's the projections file. Okay. That's got my ownership, my median, whatever. And then it says you have to upload some lineups. So here, McCool is nice enough to have a drop down for if you just want to use SaberSim's formats, which I do. So we're going to upload that lineup file, paydirt dupe test. Okay, so it uploaded all these lineups. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at them. And we're going to just see how many of these things rate to be, low duped. And it looks like we're doing pretty well here. So let's download the portfolio. Okay. And then what you can do is just basically sort out those lineups that are the lowest duped. I mean, if you want to do that. Again, we're trying to do anything, to minimize this. So fortunately, it looks like we've done a good job already. I find this kind of difficult to believe that this is going to be the case. That I'll be getting all these lineups that are low duped, but we're gonna find out. Okay. So what we're gonna do is just for funsies, okay, we'll just take out everything that rates to be low duped or rates to be duped at all. Take these out. Boom. Okay. And now what are we left with? Now we are left with what? 413 lineups. We don't need 413 lineups. We only need 300 for those two big NMEs. So now we're at this point. Like, how do we pick from here which of those lineups to use? So here's where you can take into account that it's going to be kind of a wild variance slate. So normally at this point, considering that I've already made myself pretty different by doing geo-mean filtering, by doing ROI filtering, and by doing this dupe filtering, I sometimes, like in UFC, for example, I will then go resort by median and just take the top median projected lineups that have already been kind of filtered down. But or what I might do is go by finishing position or win percentage. Like, these are very reasonable ways to rank these types of things. But what I'm going to do for this particular card is I'm going to use this lineup edge formula, which James has kind of created. It's a proprietary formula that really just it's a real big time aggression machine. Okay, it really tries its best to fade ownership and prioritize winning percentage in the face of the ownership. So what I'm going to do for this particular slate is I've already, not that all that I've done isn't enough already, but I'm going to sort all of this by lineup edge and just play the top 300 lineups. And that's just what it's going to be. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, this is not the greatest portfolio management in the world, but we're just going to play the top 150 of these now that I've sorted in this way by in the sand trap and the other 150 in the drive the green. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's want to save that file so that we don't need to save it. Let's save it right here. So let's and then we'll do one more thing and then we'll get out of here. I got to do my tennis push-ups. We'll do that in a second. All right, so let's go golf, download. Boom. And then we'll do the top 150 are going to be in the sand trap. And the second 150, I could just randomize these too, by the way. Like once I have it down to these, like which ones to use, but. And then we'll put the other 150 in here. Save, enter, and root. Now, one thing you've seen me not do, or one thing you have not seen is me check to see who I have. Right? Well, why? What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I already know that the process was sound. Right? No. Oh, definitely not, JJ. Dude, listen, let me explain something to you, okay? If you trust your projections and trust your ownerships and trust your processes, why should it matter what the outputs are? Let me tell you about sanity tests. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sanity tests are really just for the weak. I don't know what to tell you. Because you're presuming that you're sane in the first place, right? Like, what am I looking for? Like, if I look to see who I had, what's my borderline? Like, and if I do have a borderline, why wouldn't I just build that way anyway? You know what I mean? Like if I said, you know what, I'm not playing unless I have at least 20% Scotty, for example, then why don't I just put minimum 20% Scotty in the first place? You know, and this is just my philosophy about what SaberSim and these tools are supposed to be used for. They're not supposed to be used to verify what you wanted to play anyway. What you're supposed to do is learn from this and learn to see what good lineups could look like when you take your biases out of them. And yeah, I will look to see after the fact. But all right, last thing I want to do is I do have to do my tennis push-ups here. So let's take a look at this. So let's see. All right, line painter. What we have to do here for our tennis push-ups is we have to download this, and what we have to do is we have to do one push-ups for every lineup that has more than 5 dupes. I think that's fair, right? So this is the contest file for tennis today. Let's put it in the tennis, and then there's a lot of different ways to do this, but presuming that his site is working, we'll go here. We'll shout out Sports Projections, his contest analyzer, and let's just see if we can find the dupes within his site. Sometimes it's a little fishy. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's grabbing them. It does not look like it's grabbing the dupe. So fortunately, yeah, it's not grabbing the contest. So it's probably not going to work. Damn. And look at this. Now I and see what I did? See, now I touted his site, and now it's not working. Brutal, right? Okay, let's see if maybe SaberSim can give me my dupes. Sometimes, I don't know if we can get it in the first half an hour, but let me just see. Let's go into SaberSim. And we'll go into and then I have to do my dupe push-ups, then I have to get back to work. Let's see. So let's see. Tennis, did it pop in here? And maybe if it's not, it's one of the reasons why the sports projection site isn't getting there. Let's just take a look. Contests. And then let's go the line painter. Let's see if it's. Oh, there it is, users. All right, good. All right, so it looks like we'll be able to figure this out. We able to find dupes somewhere? Yeah, okay, number 5 dupes. Okay, so let's see. Mine? No, we got to go users. And then behaves. Let's see what we have here. Okay. Oh, look at this. Average dupes, 33 unique lineups, 66 with less than 5 dupes. We're down. So 4 push-ups. May as well do them here. You won't see me doing them, but you'll have to trust me. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, good. So we did the do push-ups, and we should be good to go. That's pretty much all I have for you guys now. Hopefully you enjoy the weekend as far as golf goes, and stay tuned for more content.